Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I know that I did. I taught my second ever small animal acupressure clinic, the 2-day, and we had a wonderful time. Everybody was really engaged, and the dogs had a lot of fun, and everybody learned a lot, so I'm really happy about that. Been still a little sleepy recovering from that, but I'm excited because this week is Justice for Animals Week. And for those of you that follow my channel, you know that I'm a vegan and I don't talk about some of the aspects of it. And I know that for most of the people who follow this channel, you love animals, you care about their welfare and you want to look out for them. So I wanted to talk about lab testing because there are a lot of simple ways to not support lab testing. So me personally, I don't wear makeup very often. Those of you that know me, probably only on special occasions, if that, unless I look really, really tired in the middle of winter, I might use a little bit of concealer, but I really don't use makeup. I don't wear fur. I don't wear leather. I did have some leather from before, but that's getting into animal products rather than lab testing. All of the products that I put on my skin, which are not very many, all of the hygiene products that I use, like toothpaste, deodorant, all of it is cruelty-free. And if you have questions or are looking for good brands, feel free to send me a message. I love talking about this kind of stuff. But because in our household we're very simplistic about these types of things, I have one moisturizer, one cream that I use for my entire body, my hands, my face, everything, and it's cruelty-free. And that's pretty much it, other than soap, shampoo, that kind of thing. But I wanted to give you some statistics just so you know what's actually happening. This is not for the faint-hearted. If you don't want to hear all the stats or start your morning off with a reflection on your life choices, this is not the video for you. So over 100 million animals every year are burned by the chemicals that are tested on them, crippled, poisoned, or abused in animal testing facilities. 92% of products that pass animal testing don't pass human trials. Meaning, we were okay to say that it doesn't do too much damage to the animals, but we wouldn't inflict that upon ourselves. The Animal Welfare Act does not apply to mice, reptiles, and birds. So it covers things like dogs and cats, rabbits, but it does not cover mice, which is one of the most common ones, especially for the earliest stages of trials, reptiles, and birds. 90% of animals are not included in the United States statistics for their animal testing. Morning, Monica. In Europe, India, and Israel, animal testing is straight out banned. If you have a product that was tested on animals, you're not allowed to sell it in that country. There are some countries that also put into place an import ban, meaning they're not allowed to make the product and then sell it elsewhere, which I think is really wonderful. The American Welfare Act doesn't require the use of alternatives to animals, even if there is one. So if, for example, you were testing a new skin cream on a rabbit, and there was a great alternative to rabbits, under the Animal Welfare Act, you're not required to actually use the substitute, even if it's available to you, which I think is ridiculous. But anyway, for one single pesticide that has gone through the entire process and been approved, This is over 50 experiments and 12,000 animals that all die for one pesticide test. So every time somebody comes up with a new product, something to prevent bugs or ants or anything like that, 12,000 animals. There is a carcinogen test, which for those who don't know what that is, a carcinogen is something that causes cancer, which are usually very, very dangerous chemicals. Monica says, animal testing is horrifying and makes me sad and angry. I agree, because it's so unnecessary and people are already putting so many other things on their body that are unnecessary, that using something that animals were killed to in a completely just, I can't even wrap my head around it. As a squirrel runs by outside my window. Carcinogen tests. The animals are tested with the presence of that carcinogen every single day for 2 years. They also kill pregnant animals and test it on fetuses, meaning the animal's entire life, they are given to the testing facility, they are born and raised there, they are forcefully impregnated, and then they are killed to use their fetus for testing. There are lots of alternative tests, and when it comes to, I know it's very sad, when it comes to alternative tests, there are certain requirements or criteria that it has to meet. So you can either replace the procedure, so no animal is required. So because we have so many lab-grown materials now, you can actually lab-grow skin or animal hair on the skin and then test it on that. But of course, the scientists say that's not a real comparison because they want to test on something that's living and breathing to see how it affects all of their heart rate, skin, breathing rate, metabolism, everything like that, the cells in all the tissues of their body. And they actually usually perform autopsies on them after to test certain levels of enzymes and things in their organs. For alternative tests, you can also reduce the number of animals required. So for example, for a pesticide test, it's 12,000 animals approximately for one pesticide. If you were to reduce that, that would be considered an alternate test. The third kind, or the 3 R's, replace, reduce, and the third is refine. Refine the procedure to minimize the pain to the animal. And well, those of you that know me know that I think animal testing is stupid. But if, in the scientist case, you just wanted to choose something that was less painful to the animal, they still don't even get access to grass outside. So the fact that they don't get to live a normal life, giving them time outside would influence the study depending on what they were doing, so they usually can't do that. But for example, if you were testing the carcinogen test every day for 2 years, you could perhaps use something of a lower dosage. You could use something less potent, if that's a good word for it. You could not do it every day because unless it's something in the house or a chemical that's in the air or on your skin, you're not going to be subject to it every day. So doing it not every day would minimize the pain of the animal by quite a lot. There are several tests that are very common for cosmetics. So I had a lot of friends in school that were really into makeup, and they had things I didn't even know what they were. I mean, I could probably hold all my makeup in one hand. And the most common cosmetic tests require the animal to be shaved, the chemicals to be rubbed into their freshly shaved skin, or they drop chemicals into their eyes to see how the animal responds to that, because the eyes are one of the most sensitive areas of the body. Monica says, testing is ridiculous as companies put out all kinds of drugs, fertilizers, pesticides that kill us anyways. It makes absolutely no sense. I agree. Fertilizer, you can make a wonderful fertilizer from things you can find in your pantry that works just as well. And then the food that you're growing, or if it's flowers, if the food that you're growing is then full of that fertilizer and pesticide, you're not really going to want to eat it because there's all the chemicals in it. So why not use something that works better, that's natural, that your body can ingest and not have a reaction to? But anyway, that's just me going on a tangent. But there are a lot of drugs that are tested on animals before they're given to children and adults. Typically, these are tested on monkeys because they are our closest relative. They have the same biped structure, meaning as their body circulates, it hits the organs in a certain rate compared to quadruped animals. They are closer. I know we could talk about this for days and days. We are closer to their anatomical structure than we are to a dog. But I'm going to get one of my products for a second so I can show you. If you have a product and you're not sure whether it's cruelty-free, you can actually look it up. For most of the newer products that are coming out, let's see if you can see this, there's a little bunny rabbit on it. And it says cruelty-free and vegan. So it's really not hard to get healthy products for your skin that haven't been tested on animals and required the death of them. But you do have to look out for the little bunny rabbit, because there are a lot of products that are, you would think based on the brand that they're cruelty-free, but they're really not. So it all comes down to being a more conscious consumer and thinking about the type of products you want to support. If you say that you don't support animal testing, but then you go out and buy several $100s worth of product that are tested on animals, then that doesn't really flow or make sense. You're kind of being a bit of a hypocrite in that case. For me, I've actually been using this cream, Nature's Gate, for almost 10 years. And this was before I went vegan. And I didn't even think about it because I was younger and, I don't buy that kind of stuff. So my family was using it and I was going to use it too. And then when I decided to go vegan, I checked on my products and I was really happy to find out that this one is cruelty-free and vegan. So that's really wonderful because a lot of unnecessary things go into your products. And if you're not willing to, or not in a place that you're able to give up eating animal products, this is an easy place to start. Because there are a lot of cruelty-free makeup brands now. Sephora carries a bunch of them. Healthy Planet carries a bunch of them. It's really not that hard to find. There are websites that give lists of companies that are cruelty-free. There are a lot. There's also an app you can download when you're clothing shopping that will tell you, if you pick an item off the shelf and you read the label, you can search the name of the label and it will tell you whether that company or garment is cruelty-free, which I think is really wonderful. I do have some leather, just belt, and a pair of shoes from before I was vegan. And there's a lot of, do I throw them out? Do I give them to somebody else? Or do I wear them until they're worn out and then just don't replace them? Haven't quite settled on that one yet. I already don't have any fur. I did have a wool sweater as well. because I work in the barns and it's really cold, and when the sweater is worn out, I will not replace it. But at this point, I don't think I'm going to throw them out, just because the animal has already sacrificed itself, and I feel like by just tossing the clothes, I'm not making his life worthwhile, if that makes any sense. But again, it's a personal dilemma because I don't wear that stuff very often, even down to running shoes. There are so many brands now that make it out of pineapple leather or all kinds of super stretchy waterproof material, which is, they are usually a little more expensive, but they will last longer because the water won't deteriorate the quality of the shoe, which I think is really great. But just be more conscious about what you're buying. If you don't want to support animal testing, there's been a lot of videos of lab animals feeling grass for the first time. It's usually a truckload of beagles, because beagles are a very, very common dog chosen because they have a short hair. They take up less space in the lab, therefore they can have more of them. And they're very vocal when they're in pain. So they're very commonly chosen. But there's lots of videos of a whole group of them feeling grass for the first time. And if you haven't seen one of those videos, I highly suggest you go check it out. But that's all I have to say, because I could rant about this all day. That's all I have to say about lab testing. Today is Justice for Animals Week, so if you do decide to not support any of the animal product-based or cruelty-based products, good on you, go for it. This is the week to try it out, or at least look at all your products and see which ones are and which ones aren't, because sometimes it's a real eye-opener. But that's all I have to say. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week, and I will be back later this week for an Instagram live about, I did talk about this at the end of last month. It's a new segment about acupressure points for the season or the pet holiday of the month. So I believe this month is Psychology Month, Heart Health Month, and Dental Month. So I'm going to give you some points to help with those issues, and that will be on Instagram. It's either Thursday or Friday. But I will see you there. Have a fabulous rest of your day and your week, and I will see you then.